good because it works in taking care of the physical symptoms. But what it does is most of the times treating the disease in an individual. We are so used to popping pills, and it's so comfortable in this convenient urban lifestyle that we are into, that we keep popping pills to the life, and we realize that it's okay. We just keep going for monthly checkups or periodical checkups to examine our blood profile to see, okay, fine, disease is okay, not really bad, or if it's bad, we rush to the doctors and we want to get some medicines more or less. And we are relentlessly, helplessly falling prey to what disease has to give us. In fact, disease starts controlling our life, isn't it? And so, there's another choice, whether to look at it in a holistic approach, which means the treatment of the individual with the disease. There's a difference. Either you look for treatment of the disease in an individual, or are you looking for the treatment of the individual with the disease? You would say, why? Am I mad? That's what people say. Why should I go for something like this? Individual is an indivisible weave of an integral composite of mind and body. Have you ever thought about it? Yeah, whenever you have any headache, is your head paining, or you are not at ease because of the headache? Just think about it. So let's understand. So very quickly to go through this slide, because we all know about health as an absence of disease. And we are always focused, am I disease free? And that's how we define health. Health is wealth. Do you know what is wealth? Wealth comes from the word well-being. And being a homeopath, I've been very inspired with this definition of health from my Organon of Medicine textbook, which says that the health, it's a very complex paragraph, so I make it very simple. It's a state of harmonious functioning of spirit, mind, and body with boundless sway. You know what's a sway? Boundless sway. You talk about Ananta. Ananta is endless, boundless sway with having to have our intellect in place to use this vehicle of body for the higher purpose of the existence. And this has been my inspiration from the time I have done my homeopathy, and of course taken it ahead with the application of integrated clinical hypnotherapy. It became easier day by day to not depend so much on medicines, irrespective of the pati. Mind you, my friends, I am not against any medicine, but here this august audience is very well aware of the fact of the role of mental health. And I'm going to just quickly share with you a few more slides to emphasis on that. When we talk of health, we have from the father of medicine, Sir Hippocrates, Sir William Osler. They have been already from time the depth talking about the role of mental health in your physical health. Whether it's a mental disease or a physical disease, we cannot underestimate the role of mental, emotional well-being. To the extent I was so surprised and touched, because that was my favorite topic, to find out where is the scientific validation. And in 1980, the neuroscientist Dennis Kurt, who is the head of the National Institute of Mental Health, brought this very beautiful research which demonstrated that the chemicals that are running our brain and body are the same chemicals that are involved in emotion. And that says to me, that's her words, that we would better pay attention to our emotion with respect to the health. That nails it all. In fact, there are quite a few slides that I have about it, because I thought it would be nice to now bring it to the fore. What is the role of mental, emotional well-being in physical ailments, which is the scientific validation? If you look at it, I'm just going to highlight the key parts about it, because I know the time is running short. The body can be thought of as a conscious or the subconscious mind. These are the words from a research scientist. That body can be thought of unconscious or the subconscious mind. The neuropeptides and their receptors are the substrates of the emotions, and they are in constant communication with the immune system and the mechanism through which the health and the disease are created. related, which means health and disease are actually the two sides of the same coin. And we need to understand how it operates. And it gets more clearer with this correlation that is brought about by psycho-neuro-endocrine immunology. It looks very difficult for lay people to really grasp. It is not at all. I made it very simplified. Psyche is all about thought, emotions and your beliefs, mental state, which in turn influences your behavior, which in turn is a result of the neural pathway, that is the nervous system, and influences your energy body, which is the chakras, which in turn has been validated, works on your endocrine glands. And you know the endocrine glands are the thyroid, the pancreas, the adrenal, the gonads, and which in turn has an influence on the immune system all over the body and the brain. So it's a thorough, clinically validated fact that the role of mental, emotional well-being cannot be underestimated in the physical health. And so with that, I think I thought of just bringing up this slide to let you know that we keep talking about the mind, and there are two aspects of the mind that most of us are aware of. But are we aware of what's the domain of this mind? The conscious mind is more or less the processing mind that keeps thinking, analyzing. All of you have planned your day to be present here. And we keep planning to do so many things in our life. That's what our lives are governed by. But dear friends, are you aware the role of subconscious mind in your life? Can you see the list that it is having to govern the long-term memory? You know, we all, when we are sitting here, immediately go back into our past without even a switch. How easy it is. It is actually a part of the subconscious mind. So even if you are sitting here thinking, planning, processing, how many times are we fully present? The subconscious mind just takes over. The emotions and the feelings, the habit patterns. We all have patterns. Right from the time that you start brushing your teeth till you go to sleep, there are habits that has made you what you are. Your behavioral patterns and relationship patterns, addictions, involuntary body functions. And this is something that really caught my eye, because being a doctor, I was always looking for what can work for my patients at all levels, physical and mental, which includes of course the emotional well-being, the mental well-being and physical well-being, because every time I would meet people who come to me for homeopathy medicine, they are happy taking it because they are white globules. How much has been this ingrained in everybody's mind, ingrained in our mind, I'm repeating it, the belief that your medicine can take care of your health, that your medicine can treat your disease. My dear friends, the reason that my travels from homeopathy, which was very well as a system that I still really look up to because it's a holistic in approach, but I started exploring the role of subconscious mind through the integrated clinical hypnotherapy, where I could find answers for all those patients of my mind, or clients, you want to say clients, it's okay, wherever they were feeling, despite taking my medicine, which is so well given, or sometimes medicine stops working and they still keep coming to me only because they trust the doctors. And that's what I was really touched by. All those people who would keep coming to me would say, don't worry, आप आपकी गोलियां दे दो, मैं ठीक हो जाऊंगी. मैंने बोला, yeah, I'm sitting here to give medicines and I'm not here to make them my lifelong customers. So, and that was my belief, that you get better, you can leave. No, we would feel good because we trust you. You would give us some time to listen and you would understand us. And that's where I started exploring the role of mind. And I bumped into clinical hypnotherapy. And I'm very grateful to my teacher, Mr. Papadia, for having really given this knowledge so well that we could understand it, to see where it plays a role in even the physical health. So I'm going to share a couple of slides more and you'll see how the role of mind-body medicine gets woven for complete health and not just absence of disease. So, well, I wanted to add a few more slides, a few more terminologies that we saw in subconscious mind, is the spiritual connection. So there is also spiritual connection that is in the domain of subconscious mind. creativity. So it's a wholesome menu for any individual who would want to not just be free of health, but live out to the highest and the best of their potential. And this is this diagram that I have deliberately kept. It may just, which speaks about the iceberg phenomena that we see of the disease concerns in our society. We heard a lot of contributors here who spoke at different levels, from the level of the industry, the film industry, from the education world, from the corporate sector, from the health sector. Everybody have been showing very valid concerns for all that's happening in our society. However, my dear friends, I want to take you a little body beyond to dive into the world of mental well-being, to explore where are the seeds sown which results into either a mental disease for it to show up as a suicide, or a mental disease in the form of addiction, or it could be in the form of diabetes, thyroid, or heart attack. They all fall only in the 1/8 part of that iceberg which you see above the surface level, which means there are a lot of concerns which can be addressed even before the disease comes to the level above the surface. And that's something always attracted me, the preventive medicine. And so I thought this slide is going to be relevant, and especially in the context of all the dear colleagues that spoke here about different parts of our society struggling with mental health concerns. Well, I would say at some point COVID was a boon. You know why? Because it really brought up the significance of mental health. Blessing in disguise to some extent, because till that time, people will forget about hypnosis and hypnotherapy. People were not even willing to look at the mental health. So with this, I would say it's time to explore your mind a little bit. I'm going to touch upon this slide. This is a slide that explains how a hypnotherapist will look at the mind. Can you see the 10 to 12% is just the conscious mind, and the 88 to 90% is the subconscious mind, which is 9 times bigger than the conscious mind, 6,000 times powerful. And the conscious mind is that area where you feel there are rules, expectations that one has, plannings that you have, right? And there is the subconscious mind, which is all with the library of experiences and emotions. Today, as one of the speakers said, when we meet somebody, we generally say, okay, how are you? And immediately you get the answer, I'm fine. We are so much in the automated world, and we have forgotten to connect with ourselves. So it's quite understandable if you don't connect with yourself. How can you connect to somebody? And really imagine somebody giving time to you to explore that inner world. And hypnotherapy gives this benefit because it allows you to explore and deep dive into your own subconscious, up to your own unconscious, which has all the logical answers for the so-called illogical situations. How many of you feel that, I'm doing so well, I'm working hard, I'm taking care of my mental health, but still something is not working in my life, something is not really satisfying, something I feel I can do but I can't give my 100%. I wish I could see some hands raising. I believe otherwise everybody is really, really happy. Okay, there's only one hand. Wow. Okay. Or probably you're wondering what am I speaking. Thank you. So some smiles tell me that even if they don't want to raise their hands, they really need to understand what I say. Thank you so much. So that's where the role of the subconscious mind is, to tap into, number one, to decode the genesis of your disease, mental, emotional, or physical, as well as tap into your creativity, your spiritual goals. It could be in any sector of your life. And so I thought this diagram would be really helpful. Then we have something that's very essential, is the critical mind or the critical filter, which is from the formative years, the foundation of your personality. Because that part of the mind, is it critical? Because it is critical to your development. And that shapes your personality, that shapes your beliefs, that is the conditioning that you have grown from. And in today's world, where there is so much of globalization, we all feel some challenges to step beyond our own mindset. Whether it is about gender, whether it is about community, whether it's about racism. Haven't you seen that with your children or as you come across? And those conditionings and your beliefs about yourself and the beliefs that you have of the world, of your body, becomes a huge challenge. And what we are going to explore today is to look at the genesis of the disease from the lens of a hypnotherapist. And I'm using the word the lens of a hypnotherapist because till the time I really could not come to this understanding of disease, I would only label disease as maybe diabetes, maybe hypertension, maybe cancer, maybe suicide, maybe OCD, all those names, fancy names that a doctor would give it to you, or probably you have been given a label and diagnosis of, and you would run helter-skelter to find solutions. And so, my dear friends, I want to bring this little more time on this slide. I know we're running short of time, I hope it's okay. So, we just want you to just make a note of this slide, where just give some time. While I'm talking to you, take your time if you can do this exercise with yourself. What is it that you feel you should be in your 3 areas of the life? Relationship, health, career and finance. Take your time. You can do it as a homework. And what actually is in your life? What actually is your situation in your relationships with regards to your health and with regards to your career and finance? I'm sure if you hear this, most of us don't feel that we are filling that gap, are we? Is anybody here who's filled the gap completely? No hands raised? So which means, I think you agree with the fact there's always a gap. And the more that gap widens is where you start feeling distressed as an adult. Isn't it? As you grow, because you have responsibilities and so many things. And the moment you're in distress, then you have so much of stress. Let me add some more thing today to you. Stress is everywhere. It's outside you. It's how you respond to your stress, which is de-stress. And this was a term coined by another scientist by the name of Hans Selye. He said, stress can be eustress. We work under stress. But it's the de-stress, distress, that brings you pain, that brings you not at ease. And that's where is this ease. So my dear friends, disease is not in the label or the diagnosis that your doctors would have given to you. I am a doctor myself, and for me this is one of my most favorite contributions from the field of hypnotherapy. That disease begins when this gap starts widening, and none of us have really time till we really reach to 35s and 40s to really look at this, because we are now falling prey to physical health. Our investigations are showing it, and so I thought this would be helpful for all of us to know that the distress causes dis-ease, and then it shows up symptoms and emotions, and so symptoms are not just mental emotional, they are also physical. Whether it's a physical health, you will have mental emotional symptoms. When you have a mental emotional disorder, you have physical sensations. So let's stop bringing this mental and physical health classification, right? We can see it as one you as a being who's going through dis-ease, and by the way, this has its origin coming from a certain pattern of behavior which you may not be aware of, which could be decoded, because that could be done through a certain process, entering into the subconscious mind and exploring your coping mechanisms, because this has become so much a part of you, a part of your personality, and it may have its source somewhere from a core thought, a core emotion, or a core belief, and that could be driving you crazy and you will be surprised. The moment you touch it, there are different areas of your life that will start showing some shift. And not just shift, but a radical shift. And this is where I would say, how do we see, how do we think, feel, and express those feelings that are anchored in our personalities, and so the template of how we behave, even in a stress. You will see every individual behaves in a stress in a very unique way. And so the body will speak what the mind cannot, and the body keeps the score. I am now going to present to you. I would rather take time to just come directly to a certain research that we have done, and this research is not limited to thyroid. It just got my interest because thyroid was sitting in everybody's home silently without getting the name of a killer. We are all rushing with diabetes and heart attacks and cancer. And thyroid, I'm taking medicines. That is okay. My doctor says take it, right? Yes, you please continue your medicines. I'm not anyway asking you to stop it. But there's a role of mental and emotional well-being that will be addressed. And so what we do with disease and any kind of disease, we identify how do you feel, what do you believe, how are you coping with stress, and what is the payback we get. And when we did the study of thyroid therapy, which is the application of hypnotherapy in thyroid, we did an online survey with nearly 90 individuals so far. The search is still going on. And it showed us very startling correlation between the role of thyroid function and the individual's ability to express emotions. And it was something which I knew it, but I wanted to see it how it is in the society. And it was so evident that when we started taking out of that 90 people, we took at least 15 people and we started working with them with integrated clinical hypnotherapy approach using a certain standard protocol. And we started this study since March 23, it's still ongoing, but we have a protocol of at least 5 sessions and periodical follow-ups, which was done in combination with their ongoing treatment. So the medicine was going on, plus we were also working on their subconscious mind, their mental, emotional well-being, and we got some very beautiful results. What we saw is 70% improvement in emotional well-being and energy levels. 60 to 70% improvement in coping abilities to stressful situations. More than 50% showed how they could communicate better in their personal life, in their interpersonal relationships, in their career or corporate sector or in whichever field that they were working. And 23% so far has been successful enough to show a radical change in the thyroid hormone profile, which means it showed results even at the level of their blood parameters. They're all on the verge of reducing their dosage. And the research is still on, and whenever it comes up, I'll be happy to publish it again. This is just the one part. This pie chart will show the ongoing analysis that's going. You will see where the significant changes are. There is a 23% definite shift, and the other individuals are still undergoing the treatment for going through some significant changes. The patients with thyroid disease show this following symptoms, and it will be amazed. It was very gratifying to me because this is something that I could see only in my 4 walls of the clinic, and now it's very gratifying to present it to the people here, as they all had low confidence, low self-esteem, not feeling good enough, not able to listen to their inner voice, difficulty in expressing themselves, not being seen, not being heard, and suppressed emotions. How many of us have this? Out of 10, at least few of us. And so it's not surprising why thyroid disorders are entering in our every family, every house. Though it is not a killer, but it's already a silent paying guest. And just to share with you how the clinical hypnotherapy works in complementary to the modern medicine approach, is we first work with the emotional detox. In the psychology context, we bring the catharsis of any negative disturbing emotions. We work towards decoding the limiting patterns limiting mindset, so that we could come to the core belief on which this disease is standing. And then give them an avenue to have a renewed belief, because your belief governs your behavior, and have a behavior modification, which is what you explore through this therapy. And to top it up, it gives you a sense of self-empowerment, living out your highest and the best potential. So my dear friends, I just would like to summarize this particular presentation by reinforcing and repeating all my friends and colleagues have been mentioning here, that it's important to have awareness. Awareness of the role of mental, emotional well-being in your physical health as well, or even in mental disorders, whichever it could be. And the core belief that you could have about yourself. Pay attention to what belief you carry about yourself, about the world, and everything related to your body and relationships. And last but not the least, this cannot be complete unless you are willing to be a participant in this holistic wellness for yourself, because that creates the fabric of the harmonious design that you are as an individual and what potential that you carry. And so I would only add one more sentence, that the awareness and willingness can be there not just for using the advances in the medical technology, but even in the advances in the mind sciences, which includes integrated clinical immunotherapy, and hence not just the disease management, but enabling you to live a healthy life, total health care, where one can have a wide spectrum of human emotions, yet you can still live out your highest